I had agents that, they would give me things that, are more stereotypical, roles that I should take. And I'd be like,
and they would tell you,
you have to go in for this because it's this director or it's this actor. And I was like, but I want to work with that actor, but I don't want to play that role.
Got it.
Right.
I want to meet him when I'm doing something better than that. You know what I'm saying? And I would even say, because I said no at certain times, it made me available for the things that got me to where I am. So for me, it's always been like, first, who are you? Who am I first? I have to know who I am first to know how to navigate this thing. Because if I'm navigating and I'm becoming something, if I become something that I'm not supposed to become, then I'm in the wrong place, whether I made it in other people's eyes or not.
This is a Silk exclusive.
I didn't think I was gonna have to speak. Obviously, we thank SAG-AFTRA for this moment of appreciation and celebration of this film. Thank our director, Ryan Coogler. He's a genius. Gotta run through the names of the execs: Bob Iger, Alan Horn, Nate Moore, Louis D'Esposito, Victoria Alonso, Kevin. I gotta save the best for last. I'm not gonna forget Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige. And this cast, this ensemble that when I think of going to work every day and the passion and the intelligence, the resolve, the discipline that everybody showed, I also think of two questions that we all have received during the course of multiple publicity runs. And one is, did we know that this movie was going to receive this kind of response? Meaning, was it gonna make billions of dollars? Was it gonna make $1 billion? Was it going to still be around during this award season? And the second question is, has it changed the industry? Has it actually changed the way this industry works, how it sees us? And my answer to that is to be young, gifted, and Black. Because all of us up here know, and Andy, we include you too. Man, you got great timing, boy. Great timing. To be young, gifted, and Black, we all know what it's like to be told that there is not a place for you to be featured, yet you are young, gifted, and Black. We know what it's like to be told to say there's not a screen for you to be featured on, a stage for you to be featured on. We know what it's like to be the tail and not the head. We know what it's like to be beneath and not above. And that is what we went to work with every day, because we knew not that we would be around during award season or that it would make $1 billion, but we knew that we had something special that we wanted to give the world, that we could be full human beings in the roles that we were playing, that we could create a world that exemplified a world that we wanted to see. We knew that we had something that we wanted to give, and to come to work with every day and to solve problems with this group of people every day with this director. That is something that I wish all actors would get the opportunity to experience. if you get to experience that, you will be a fulfilled artist. Now, the question of, what's that second question? The question of, you know, will we be around? Don't give me the music. The question of will we be around during award season, I just have to say, you know, it's a pleasure to be celebrated by you, to be loved by you. And one thing I do know, did it change the industry? I know that you can't have a Black Panther now without a 2 on it. So we love you and we celebrate it.
Welcome back to another episode of Words Music Dance. Your host is always Paulie the Bull, and shout out to everybody listening, watching. Y'all know the rules, you know what it is. Unfortunately, we're still in the year 2020, and it seems like every time I do one of these, some bad news happens.
Terrible fucking year.
Yeah. But just last week, we were hit with the news about the untimely, loss of Chadwick Boseman, and like I have done in the past, I wanted to do a little dedication to him because he's somebody that definitely deserves it. A little recognition. In the short time, of his movie career, he definitely, made an impact. He played every big black man there was. James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson, and then became, ultimately the Black Panther, King T'Challa, What the biggest thing, by the way, John Silver, as you can see.
Big John Silver.
Yeah, you know what it is. But basically, we were hit with, from his social media page, that his family posted that, he was battling cancer since 2016. And to me, the first thing I thought was like, wait a minute, like, 2016 was like, his career was like,
started
movies back to back. He did this, he did this, he did this, he did this, he did this. And it was just like, the whole time, he was dealing with that, you know what I'm saying? And he never told us, you know what I'm saying? The world didn't know, we didn't need to know, but he never made it a, oh, woe is me, or, it was never that. And one of the things that stood out to me before I speak was, I think when they were doing the Black Panther, media tour, and they was on Shade 45 with Sway in the Morning, and the whole cast was there, and he was talking about 2 cancer patients that he went and visited in the hospital.
There are two little kids, Ian and Taylor, who recently passed from cancer. And throughout our filming, I was communicating with them, knowing that they were both terminal. And what they said to me is, and their parents said, they're trying to hold on till this movie comes. And to a certain degree, you hear them say that and you're like, wow, that's like, I gotta get up and go to the gym. I gotta get up and go to work. I gotta learn these lines. I gotta work on this accent. Seeing how devoted all of my castmates are, and knowing that will be something meaningful to them. But it's, to a certain degree, it's a humbling experience, because you're like, this can't mean that much to them, But seeing how the world has taken this on, seeing how the movement is, how it's taken on a life of its own, I realized that they anticipated something great. And I think back now to a kid and just, waiting for Christmas to come, waiting for my birthday to come, waiting for a toy that I was going to get a chance to experience, or a video game. I did live life waiting for those moments. And so it put me back in the mind of being a kid, just to experience those 2 little boys' anticipation of this movie. And when I found out that they
take your time with it.
yeah, it means a lot.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Take your time with it.
And he didn't once even then say, I could relate, or I could, because I'm dealing with, it was still about them. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to put on a good performance for, them, and we can talk about later what Black Panther meant to people and stuff, but his whole goal was he wanted to play specific roles that really was heroic roles or, noteworthy roles. He didn't just want to be the typical black dude in the movie. He wanted to be a role that would be remembered, and he definitely did that. What were your thoughts when you first heard the news?
My first post to social media was like, hopefully it's the 2020 hoax because this can't be real.
Right.
Only because like you know, I don't think anyone expected it. He didn't say nothing. He was known. Right. Like with Patrick Swayze, for you knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Like with certain, you knew. He kept it really quiet. But I think it's even more admirable if you think about all the roles he did. The stuff that because I got first put on to him obviously was 42, and I thought he did an amazing job. I thought it was a really good fucking movie. I was like, wow, this is a good movie. This kid can act. I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't know he was gonna be Black Panther.
Right. At the time we weren't thinking Yeah.
So I got first put on to him with that, and then obviously you watch, then Black Panther comes out, huge, phenomenal movie, and the importance that character had for the community overall at the time was perfect timing. Like it was just great. And I remember we saw that movie. We would go see that movie again. That shit was like we saw the movie together for the second time.
Right.
But it was sad news. And then one of the parts that hit me the most was the fact that a lot of people were geeing on the dude. Like they were joking on him, the way he looked. He lost weight. He was all scruffy. I honestly thought he was doing it for a role.
Right.
I didn't think anything of it. I thought he was doing it for a role because, not that I'm a fucking doctor, but the body he built for Black Panther kind of fights against what you deteriorating body that you get from cancer. So I didn't think that of it. I just thought he was losing weight for a role.
Right.
But people were like trashing him. He looks like he's homeless, like a bum.
Right.
He looks like this. He looks like that
definitely
crackhead.
think sickness or something.
Yeah.
He was
I thought it was a movie role.
Right. Yeah. That was
so then when I
first
see
thought
the
too.
news, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because the thing is that on top of him doing good movie roles, as a person, he uses celebrity to better people's lives. Like you go watch it. I remember when he first did the role, Jimmy Fallon, that thing where he had him hide behind the curtain. The way people expressed themselves to him was phenomenal. Him going to cancer patients and like it's that's a beautiful person. And even him staying quiet, there's theories on why he stayed quiet. One of my theories I like to believe is that he thought he wanted to make money, secure that bag for his family and everything, and have that money. And if you knew, unfortunately, the way Hollywood works, if you knew that you can't be in a part 2 or part 3, I might not give you that deal.
Right.
And so he kept things quiet, did his thing, and I think that's phenomenal. I mean, he held that weight, that pain with just him and his close family members this entire time, and he gave us something to look after. I literally went to bed watching Black Panther that night when I heard it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. It's sad.
I don't know if he hit it for the bag. I don't know. We'll never know. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, truth be told, I think they had to have known. I think some of the directors he dealt with or something, because he would need certain dates off he was dealing with chemotherapy, he had surgeries, and so I think they may have known, and he may have asked them to respect his privacy. You know what I'm saying? Black Panther 2, to my knowledge, if I recall, was never even really announced. I think it was just announced before, but they never really set a date. And that could be why, because if you notice the last reveal that Kevin Feige did, he only did it within 2 years. You know what I'm saying? He only said, this is coming out, 2020, this is coming out 2021, and obviously this year got screwed up. But he didn't really go, usually they do the phases by 5 years or so. Yeah. He really kept it tight. And one of the big announcements again was that Blade was coming back with Mahershala Ali. So that might have been their plan B. Again, we don't know. But I know, speaking of Blade, a lot of people basically were talking about Black Panther and stuff. Even he would pay homage. He was like, listen, I'm not the first. Wesley did Blade, you know what I'm saying? Even Michael Jai White did Spawn. But the significance of Black Panther was those two characters were more anti-heroes. You know what I'm saying? Blade was a vampire, half vampire, fighting demons, but he had bad in him or whatever. Spawn was a hellspawn.
This is Wakanda's Captain America.
He was a king, right? And he was loosely, a blending of, Mansa Musa and Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm saying? So he's like the king to the country and also the guardian of the country. So that blending, and you can see what Jack Kirby and Stan Lee was doing back then, because if not, you don't know, but Professor X and Magneto were loosely based on Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. So you can see them you know, and this was what I think Black Panther was first introduced maybe late 50s, early 60s. You know what I'm saying? So for them to make that bold of a move and say, hey, this black, you know, this African king is also a hero, and he married Storm, and you know what I'm saying? So the things they were doing, the significance of seeing that on camera, you know, a lot of people loosely oversimplify the movie as, oh, it was just like a remake of Lion King, but the significance of little kids seeing a black king, a hero, someone they can relate to, and then the cast being all black, and you know, the director Ryan Coogler, and the significance of that movie. And like,
Black Panther, I shed a tear. And the 40 years I've been in this game came back to me. I said, man, look at these young boys, man. And I actually just started, I was like, whew. You know, Sydney to now. But it was like, man, I felt like the third leg of the relay race. Like, here, go.
Yeah.
Now, I ran behind them. I'm still running. But I was like, man, they gone. You never know who you touch and where they might end up. I had no idea that, you know, it would work out this way, and look where Chad is now. And I'm glad to be in a very small way a part of it.
just seeing that and what he meant to people, and he did it for that. You know, him playing Jackie Robinson, him playing James Brown, putting stories out there that weren't told before.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Thurgood
like,
Marshall. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I don't think it's coincidence that he did important black roles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he had chances to do other roles.
Yeah.
But him picking these figures
Right.
is for a reason.
Yeah.
Like at the time that Marshall was like, he already had a good name because of Robinson. Like,
Right.
I'm sure he had other roles on the table, but he felt that this is a movie I need to do.
Right.
And that's important because the thing is that unfortunately, being a film buff, I could say like there aren't enough pro-black movies done.
Right.
And when you have someone like that who's in a position where he's like, I'm not gonna take this role as this person, I'm gonna do these movies. You know, it's important, it's phenomenal because you have a million movies of this guy and that guy. You got your JFK movie,
Right.
you got your Gotti movie, and you got, you know what I mean? You
And
don't
I think
have
he
enough
really
of this.
didn't get the bag for those movies. He probably could have got bigger
not
bags
for
by
those movies,
taking
yeah.
lesser roles. You know, Black Panther was the role he finally was, you know, and of course, thinking long term, who knows where they would have
Yeah,
went. You know what I'm
eventually
saying?
sequels.
Yeah, but that was the bag. Like, yeah, the third good Marshall movie, the James Brown, Get On Up, 42. Like, he was still kind of a new actor. You know what I'm saying? He'd been acting for years. I think they said he was on like soap operas.
Yeah, he was
back
on a
in-
bunch of TV shows back in the day.
But that was, he was.
And even he's in, I haven't watched it yet, which I'm a huge Spike Lee fan. But
Oh, yeah.
that new
The
movie on
Five
Netflix,
Bloods, I
Five
saw
Bloods,
that.
he's in that. And
He's a small role in it, but yes, I saw that.
and I'm a big
21
Spike Lee
Bridges,
fan.
I saw.
21 Bridges, though, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I'm not mistaken, that movie actually came out, it was made and done a while ago, and when Black Panther popped, they decided to finally release it.
I
The
don't
movies
know.
hold down movies for a while, like
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Hemsworth, he did that
Because
movie.
the Russos did it. The Russos directed it. So maybe after like Civil War, I think. I think after they was working with him on Civil War, they probably like, you know what, we got something else we want you to do. And all right, bet. You know what I'm saying? So,
But from my understanding, the company held on to it for a little bit,
Probably.
and then when he popped, they were like, oh, let's drop it.
but that makes sense because the Russos also popped. So like we know, a lot of times directors have passion projects that the production company don't really push until you have a name. Like Christopher Nolan, you know, he did Memento and stuff. He wanted Inception. It was like, eh. But when Batman took off, Dark Knight took off, then it was like, what you want to do next? He was like, Inception. And it was like, all right.
Because I know, like, when Thor, Chris Hemsworth, he had that movie, Cabin in the Woods, the horror movie, and they held on to that for like 6 years,
Right.
and then Thor popped, and then they dropped it,
So
and you
it's
could tell, you
possible.
could see the age difference.
Right.
But anyway,
yeah,
back to Chadwick.
Russos and Chadwick, anybody be stupid to, you know, not put that out at the time.
That's a good fucking film, too, though.
Yeah,
Bridges was dope.
I have to see Message to the King, the other movie. I think that's on Netflix as well. I haven't seen that movie. I heard that was very good as well. He even said himself he was very particular on the roles he chose. Hope I pick up the background. He's very particular on the roles he chose, and you know, image he wanted to portray to those watching, because a lot of times, you know, obviously celebrities are looked at as heroes of some sort, and it's like, dude, knowing now what we know, he definitely is a hero. Like, you know, not to sound corny or none of that, but like, fam, to do what he did, that takes a lot. Like I said, that was my first thought. I didn't even think about, oh, but what about Black Panther? I just thought about what he did. And when they said 2016 and he was battling now, I'm like, yo, he did so much in them 4 years. And he was still, like, he didn't have a day off. His day off was, I gotta go to the hospital, I gotta, you know what I'm saying?
It gotta make you appreciate life, too,
Yo,
and
yeah.
also motivate you to get up and do something,
Yeah.
because he did all this while battling that, and that's
Yeah.
just fucking, and he did it humbly.
Yeah.
Man. That's the thing. He did it humbly. Not one at any time, especially after Black Panther, he could have done the pity party, like, oh, this is me, look at me.
Right.
And no, he just kept it quiet, kept doing what he did it
Yeah.
for fans, and like a true king.
And we didn't pay it no mind because all of the Marvel characters and stuff would go to the hospitals and stuff. So we just thought, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Disney probably making them, you know, they got the Make-A-Wish funds and cool. We didn't even know he really was connecting, you know what I'm saying, with those kids and stuff. He might have told them, you know what I'm saying? We don't know, but again, personal business, we don't need to know. But
The
it's
thing
like,
is to go to the set, do your job, go to the schools, do all this stuff, be active member of the community, do all that stuff, knowing you have a death sentence on your head. You know more or less your time free,
Right.
and still to do all those things, man. That's, like I said, that's true.
and these is big budget movies where there's no 8-hour shift. You there sun up to sundown, retakes, do-overs. You know what I'm saying? You doing a lot, and for him to be like, you know what I'm saying, not 100%, like doing stunts and remembering lines and actions and
Yeah, that'd be the last thing on my mind.
yeah. And these, like I said, these ain't just low budget movies where you can just sit in your trailer and nah, these is big to gut. Like Disney and them like, we gotta get this out by such and such date. You gotta make this happen. Like we need to record this right now. We shooting this today. Action. You know what I'm saying? So for him to get those done, it's like, that's
It's sad news, man. It's just sad news. It was too, like I was hoping with, and he was young, man. But like, obviously, cancer, you know, fuck cancer. Cancer don't have a date, a range, age. It just come at you. It comes at you. You know, it's one of those.
yeah.
But that's
I definitely, like I said, definitely just wanted to,
that shit hit hard.
you know, commemorate him, like salute to him, like, you know, prayers to his family. He definitely is a hero. Like I said, bigger than just the movies he did. Like, yeah, he's a hero. He's somebody to definitely, because looking back on interviews and stuff now, his words hit differently. And you know, we always say that. we always say that, but nah, knowing that little secret, like that adds more weight to everything he said.
Somebody on Worldstar Hip Hop put out a video of him doing like Jimmy Fallon, him doing like different interviews, and when you listen to it now, you're like, oh, like this motherfucker cherished life because he knew that his life was coming to an end. Like he cherished it, and he wanted the best. Like that's to look at death, smile, and say I'm still gonna do my thing and make these people happy. Like that's.
I remember, I think it was the MTV crazy. Movie Awards.
Receiving an award for playing a superhero is amazing, but it's even greater to acknowledge the heroes that we have in real life. I just want to acknowledge somebody that's here today, James Shaw Jr. If you don't know James Shaw Jr., he fought off a gunman in Antioch, Tennessee at a Waffle House.
That trophy now is hanging up in that dude's house. You know what I'm saying? He's like, no, you a hero to me. I play one on TV. You know what I'm saying? But you really did some things, and it's like, yeah, nah, you was a hero as well, like on the low, like, you know what I'm saying? And definitely wish we could give him flowers, you know what I'm saying? But it's never too late, you know what I'm saying? Salute, like I said, salute to him now, Chadwick, like, he will be missed. Like, the movies hit even harder now. Like, I'm about to buy all the DVDs now. Like, you know, hopefully go to some kind of places, go to his family. Yeah, those two. But, well, now you can just download it or something, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like, it definitely was a tough one. Reading the message, posted on his social media. You know, like at first you want to say, nah, it can't be real, but then, like I said, once you see it was his account that posted it, it's like his family wouldn't play like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Twitter and them would play like that. His family wouldn't play like that. You know what I'm saying? And they probably prepared. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. That might be something they planned. Like, listen, when I go, just post this on my account. It's like, who thinks? You know what I'm saying? You don't want to think of that, but they might have had, his wife maybe had the password to, you know what I'm saying, just go in and let the world know that he's been dealing with this. Like I said, when I seen this at 2016, my first thought was, wow. And it was stage 3 when he found out. So he had it even before that, and you know, didn't really know or whatever. It was developing, but just wow. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Like, so,
rest in peace, King. Like, that's
for sure. Like, like forever, like it's understatement now. Chadwick forever. now when we do that, it's gonna have a different meaning. Like we do that for Chadwick forever. Like, yeah. But that's all I got on that. Like everybody comment, leave us your thoughts on, you know, what he meant to you, what you thought of him, you know, comment all that stuff.
Just thinking about it, bro. Like we fucking after, like for a while after the movie dropped, fucking basketball players, celebrities, everyone just
was doing that. Yeah,
like
I remember
so much.
in the slam dunk contest, Victor Oladipo, who was African, put the mask on and he was in the crowd. He dapped him up and did it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, as an African ball player, like, yo, I got an African king playing the movie. Like, I'm salute to him, and it was so many. Like I said, it's so many levels to it that right now it's still new. Later on, maybe I need to have some more words on it, but right now it's just like I just wanted to give him some flowers, like real quick. Like,
It's crazy.
yeah. See y'all next time. Hopefully, you got some good news.
The NAACP were not like most lawyers. We only represent innocent people, people accused because of their race. That's our mission.
Don't let them get to you.
I won't. God built me to last. When I hit that stage, the people better be ready. Especially the white folks.
Watch me sack him 4 times in one game, then watch what happens after.
And as you can see, I am not dead.
Be useful.
I was on a roll when I entered the system of entertainment, theater, television, and film. In my first New York audition for a professional play, I landed the lead role. From that play, I got my first agent. From that agent, I got an on-screen audition. It was a soap opera. It wasn't Third Watch. It was a soap opera on a major network. I scored that role too. I felt like Mike Tyson when he first came on the scene, knocking out opponents in the first round. With this soap opera gig, I was already promised to make six figures, more money than I had ever seen. I was feeling myself. But once I got the first script, and with soap operas, you very often get the script the night before and you shoot the whole episode in one day with little to no time to prepare. Once I saw the role I was playing, I found myself conflicted. The role wasn't necessarily stereotypical. A young man in his formative years with a violent streak pulled into the allure of gang involvement. That's somebody's real story. Never judge the characters you play. That's what we were always taught. That's the first rule of acting. And any role played honestly can be empowering. But I was conflicted because this role seemed to be wrapped up in assumptions about us as black folk. The writing failed to search for specificity. Plus, there was barely a glimpse of positivity or talent in the character, barely a glimpse of hope. I would have to make something out of nothing. I was conflicted. Howard had instilled in me a certain amount of pride, and for my taste, this role didn't live up to those standards. It was just my luck that after filming the first 2 episodes, execs of the show called me into their offices and told me how happy they were with my performance. They wanted me to be around for a long time. They said, if there was anything that I needed, just let them know. That was my opening. I decided to ask them some simple questions about the background of my character, questions that I felt were pertinent to the plot. Question number 1, where's my father? The exec answered, well, he left when you were younger. Of course. Okay. Question number 2. In this script, it alluded to my mother not being equipped to operate as a good parent. So why exactly would my little brother and I have to go into foster care? Matter of factly, he answered, well, of course, she's on heroin. That could be real, I guess. But I didn't want to assume that's what it was. If we're around here assuming that the black characters in the show are criminals on drugs and deadbeat parents, then that would probably be stereotypical, wouldn't it? That word stereotypical lingered.
One of the execs pulled out my resume and began studying it. The other exec wore a smile, trying to live up to what they had promised me only a few moments before. If there's anything you need, just let us know. She said, as you have seen, things move really fast around here. But we are more than happy to connect you with the writers if you have suggestions. Yeah, I said, that would be great. I said, because I'm just trying to do my homework on this. I didn't know if you guys had decided on all the facts, but maybe there's some things we could come up with, some talent or gift that we could build. Maybe he's really good at math or something. He has to be active. I'm doing my best not to play this character like a victim. So you went to Howard University, huh? The exec holding my resume interrupted, peeking over the pages. Yes, I said proudly. He slid my resume back in his desk and said, thank you for your concerns. We'll be watching you. I left the office. I shot the episode I had come in to shoot on that day. Probably the best one I did out of the 3 because I got what was bothering me off my chest. I was let go from that job on the next day. A phone call from my agent. They decided to go another way. The questions that I asked set the producers on guard and perhaps paved the way for a less stereotypical portrayal for the black actor that stepped into the role after me. As the scripture says, I planted the seed and Apollos watered it. But God kept growing. God kept it growing. Yet and still, when you invest in a seed, watching it grow without you, that is a bitter pill to swallow. A bitter pill. Anybody that's ever been fired knows what I'm talking about. Even if you really don't want the job, when they let you go, it's like any breakup. You act like you don't care. I didn't need that damn job anyway. I didn't need them. But when you have those moments alone, you start to wonder if there was a better way to handle it. And if you could have handled it better, maybe you could help your family. And then before you know it, you're broke. And you find yourself scraping together change just so you can ride the subway so that you can get the next job. And maybe if you could book something else, that would eclipse the feeling of doubt that's building. But it seems like you can't pay them to hire you now. My agents at the time told me it might be a while before I got a job acting on screen again. Well, that was fine because I never wanted to act in the first place. And I definitely didn't want to be caught dead going after a fake Hollywood pipe dream. I'm more of a writer-director anyway, so forget their stories. I can tell my own stories. But am I actually blackballed? We're hesitant about sending you out to some people right now because there is a stigma that you're difficult. As conflicted as I was before I lost the job, as adamant as I was about the need to speak truth to power, I found myself even more conflicted afterwards. I stand here today knowing that my Howard University education prepared me to play Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, and T'Challa. But what do you do when the principles and standards that were instilled in you here at Howard close the doors in front of you? Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is and how you need to fight it. At some point, my mind reverted back to my experiences here, to the professors that challenged me and struggled against me. Professor Roberts Williams, Doc Singleton, George Epstein, to name a few, the ones that would fail you out of the goodness of their hearts. And this may be hard to grasp for some of you right now, but I even considered President Swaggart and how negotiating with him was practice for a world that was considerably more cruel and unforgiving than any debate here, one that had no interest in my ideals and beliefs. How would I maneuver through all of this? Finally, I thought of Ali
in the middle of the yard. In his elder years, drawing from his victories and his losses. At that moment, I realized something new about the greatness of Ali and how he carried his crown. I realized that he was transferring something to me on that day. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter in me. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter to me. He was transferring the spirit of the fighter to me. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you. God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Graduating class, hear me well on this day. When you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next jobs, next steps, careers, further education, you would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When I dare to challenge the system that would relegate us to victims and stereotypes with no clear historical backgrounds, no hopes or talents, when I questioned that method of portrayal, a different path opened up for me. The path to my destiny. When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. God will move someone that's holding you back away from a door and put someone there who will open it for you. If it's meant for you, I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Now, this is your time. The light of new realization shines on you today. Howard's legacy is not wrapped up in the money that you will make, but the challenges that you choose to confront. As you commit to your past, press on with pride and press on with purpose. God bless you. I love you, Howard.